Today I'll talk about a Japanese comedy drama film called When I Get Home, My Wife Always Pretends to Be Dead. Jun Kagami is an office worker who lives in Tokyo with his wife, Chai Kagami. Jun believes that if a marriage lasts more than 3 years without much difficulty, the couple is meant to be. His first marriage ended after 3 years, so he and Chai agreed to renew their marriage contract after their 3rd anniversary before marrying. They will simply walk out of each other's lives if they feel they can no longer be together. Jun is concerned about how their future will unfold as their 3rd wedding anniversary approaches. He returns home from work while thinking about such things. He knocks on the door, but no one answers. It's unusual because Chai always greets him at the door. Jun enters using the spare key and is met with a terrifying sight. Chai is motionless on the floor, blood dripping from her mouth. He falls beside her and tries in vain to wake her up. Jun recalls all the good times he's had with his wife during his panic attack. She had asked him to die before her on their wedding day so she would not have to live without him. Jun returns to his senses and composes himself a few seconds later. He attempts to call an ambulance when Chai grabs his legs, revealing that it was all a prank. Jun looks at her in surprise, so she asks him if he's surprised and laughs. When he doesn't respond, she simply invites him to dinner in the kitchen. Jun jokes about Chai using ketchup as fake blood after he has recovered from his shock. Chai mocks Jun's reaction to the prank, and the couple laughs. Their mood remains upbeat and light throughout the rest of the meal. Chai requests a kiss before Jun leaves for work the next morning. He tells her they are no longer newlyweds, so she just cringes. Chai, on the other hand, disagrees with him. She hugs him tightly, telling him that they never know what will happen during the day, so this could be their last goodbye. Jun drops the Grange bag into the bins on his way out. A cleaning lady goes through them and notices the bloodied clothes from the day before. She begins to suspect Jun is up to no good in his apartment. Jun tells his coworker Sano about Chai's prank on him the day before at the office. Sano praises Chai for making an effort to be amusing and wishes his wife was less serious. Jun believes Chai is testing to see if he still loves her so she can decide if she wants to stay with him after 3 years. Later that evening, Chai is cooking dinner when she receives a text message from Jun informing her that he is returning home. She grins mischievously at the text, planning her next prank. Jun walks in a few minutes later to find his wife lying on the floor with her head inside a realistic alligator's mouth. She is acting as if she is about to be eaten by the animal. Jun goes along with it, pulling her out of its mouth to save her. She expresses her heartfelt gratitude to her husband for saving her life and suggests that they eat dinner right away. Chai then continues to play dead every day, becoming more inventive with each prank. She pretends to be a maid who died after being caught up in a conflict one day. After that, she is a trapped soldier who is shot by the enemies. Jun is most impressed when she pretends to be shot through the head with an arrow. He admires the inventiveness, though the pranks irritate him more and more as time passes. Jun has no idea why she is doing them, which worries him even more as the 3rd anniversary approaches. He's dumping garbage again one day, and this time it's mostly props that Chai uses to pretend to be dead. The cleaning lady searches the bag and discovers a bloodied knife. She makes a fuss in front of everyone and only calms down when Jun explains that the blood is ketchup. He expresses his concerns to his coworker Sano, who suggests that he send Chai to her parents' house for a few days. Jun begins to tell him how he first met and became acquainted with Chai as they converse. He was in Shizuoka for a business meeting, but missed his return bus. Chai noticed him following it and invited him to her father's restaurant. She was a lovely young lady, but it was her upbeat personality that drew Jun's attention. Her mother died when she was only 5 years old, but she never showed her grief in public. She had told him before leaving that her wish was to eat a dessert from Mont St. Clair in Tokyo, and he had invited her to the city later. The unusual love story pleasantly surprises Sano. Jun returns home that day to discover Chai has transformed herself into a medieval soldier who died in the war. She used several arrows because Jun had previously praised her. He plays along, pretending to be saddened by her death. When he sees the price tag on the costume she's wearing, he no longer needs to pretend. The next day, he tells Sano that he is going to join in on the pranks to see if she will stop. As a result, when he returns home and witnesses her abduction by imposters, he puts on the best performance of his life and fights them. Chai, on the other hand, prepares an elaborate skit for him and asks him to perform better. She once pretended to be a dead vampire who needed to be revived by drawing the dagger from her chest. Jun follows the instructions in the skit and is bitten by her in the process. She then pretends to be Juliet, who needs Romeo's help to be resurrected from the dead. Jun, like the last time, pretends to be in mourning and brings her back to life. He is unable to concentrate at work and is almost afraid to return home. Sano sympathizes with his coworker. To get him to stop playing pranks for a day, he invites the couple to dinner with his wife. At the end of the day, they all gather at a restaurant. Yumiko, Sano's wife, also joins them. Chai is asked why she chose to marry Jun while they are talking. A flashback reveals that the couple met in Tokyo after meeting at the restaurant. Jun takes Chai to a cafe she has always wanted to go to. Chai is walking through the streets of Tokyo when she spots a street vendor selling her favorite wafer cake. Jun follows her and eventually reaches the vendor. They split the cake because he only has one left. Chai gives him the larger piece, but Jun requests the larger one. This is when she realized she was in love with him. Back in the present, on his way home, Jan falls in love with his wife once more. They both look at the moon and admire its beauty. Jun notices an advertisement for a job at a local laundry on his way home one day. He believes that if Chai begins working, she will have less time for pranks, so he brings the paper home. Inside a coffin, she greets him as an Egyptian princess. They simply walk to the kitchen for dinner after the dramatic encounter. Jun informs her of the opening and encourages her to apply. Chai is initially skeptical, but she agrees to do it anyway. She starts working at an old man's laundry shop the next day, but that doesn't stop her from pulling the pranks. That evening, she pretends to be murdered by a bank robber. Jun has had enough and tells her that he is sick of seeing her play dead. The next day, Chai goes on a date with Sano's wife Yumiko and discovers she has been trying to conceive for 6 years without success. Because of this, the couple's relationship is strained, but Chai's encouraging words make Yumiko feel better. Jun brings his wife flowers and her favorite cake, but when he walks into the apartment, he sees her dressed as a ghost rising from her grave. She pretended to be a ghost who was already dead because he asked her not to play dead. She thanks him for the cake and prepares a tasty dinner for him. On weekends, she dresses up as a robot, but Jun forces her to remove the mask. Following that, he discovers a letter from his ex-wife inviting him to meet her someday. One day, the couple invites Sano and his wife to dinner. Yumiko notices and is fascinated by the alligator toy in the room. Even her husband is surprised to learn that she is obsessed with alligators. Everything is going swimmingly until Sano mentions that men need time away from their wives. Yumiko is irritated by this and she gets into a fight with Sano. To cheer her up, Chai offers her the alligator if she wins an arm wrestling match against her. Yumiko triumphs because she used to practice karate. She gladly accepts the alligator. Sano regrets not knowing his wife's interests despite being married for 6 years. Jun returns home the next day to find Chai has transformed herself into a person from the year 2050. He plays along for the first few minutes, asking her questions about the future. But then he asks what he can do to get her to stop pulling these pranks. Chai falls silent and begins to calculate how many days they will spend together on average in the future. Even when he presses her, she refuses to answer his question. Yumiko informs Chai a few days later that she and Sano have decided to divorce. She expresses gratitude to Chai for making her feel valued. Because of her, the couple was able to express their feelings to one another. Jun and Sano, on the other hand, go to a restaurant to discuss the situation. Sano believes that the divorce is in their best interests because Yumiko deserves a more attentive partner. Jun also reveals that his ex-wife once went missing for 2 weeks and then returned, claiming she wanted a divorce. He is very drunk by the end of the night, so Chai picks him up. The next day, they learn that Chai's father is in the hospital due to a heart attack. They rush to her hometown to meet her father, who has been thankfully saved. Chai meets him but can't stop crying afterward. Her father tells Jun that she hasn't cried since her mother's death when she isn't in the room. He also mentions that Chai saw him crying while looking at her mother's picture one night after her mother died. She started hiding around the house when he got home from work the next day. Her father initially thought it was bothersome and strange, but as time passed, the simple activity of her hiding helped him get over his wife's death because he was occupied. Jun realizes he has become more involved in their relationship since she began to play dead. He notices that her pranks are not the result of her dissatisfaction, but rather of her desire to feel closer to him and keep him entertained. They later go to the park where Jun proposed to her. They spend the rest of the day talking to each other about various topics. After a few days, the couple returns to Tokyo. Chai returns home from work to find Jun on the floor, blood streaming from his mouth. She panics and tries to wake him up, but soon realizes he is also playing a joke on her. The film ends with Jun suggesting they go out to dinner, but Chai is too upset with him for scaring her like that. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support it. Thank you for your time.